So I had a lot of fun making my first Stillwater video, and I left out some key areas. Some of you let me know in the comments, and yeah, I did this on purpose. Not only, like I said, was it a lot of fun, but, you gotta stretch out that content a little bit. But anyway, this is the series, I guess, where we compare the maps of Stillwater from Saints Row 1, Saints Row 2, and the unreleased PSP game Saints Row Undercover. Now, with Saints Row Undercover, keep in mind I can only take screenshots. My little tablet laptop thing is so bad I cannot record footage while playing a PSP game on it at the same time. Also, it's unfinished, so there's probably going to be some glitchy shit in it and like unfinished buildings and stuff like that. Also, big shout out to Mr. Saints Godzilla 21 for bringing the Undercover Superman glitch to everyone's attention. It's like a glitch where you can fly around the map. I actually had to run around the whole map in Saints Row Undercover in my first video because you can't use cars in that game because the cars make you go flying all over the place. So yeah, that literally saved me hours having that Superman glitch. So thank you for that, Saints Godzilla. All right, we're going to get this one out of the way real quick, but I do think it's pretty interesting. This building is in Saints Row 1, and I was watching a Volition stream from a few years ago, and they were playing Saints Row 1, and I think it was Mitch Cronin that pointed out that this building right here, the layout of it is based off of Volition's building. And you can definitely see a back-to-back here. This is a video that they took in, I think, 2006. I'm pretty sure it was right when they were releasing Saints Row 1. They were putting down a banner of the cover of the game. And yeah, you can definitely see that the layout is the same. Here it is in Saints Row 2. The building obviously isn't there, but this is the exact location, and it's right in front of the church. And this brings me to another point that I wanted to say. In my first video, I mentioned that the church in Saints Row 1 looks a little bit like it's in a different location in Saints Row 2. And some of you pointed out that, yeah, it was moved a few blocks in Saints Row 2. All right, so this is the first Freckle Bitches in Saints Row 1. It's iconic to the series. This is where you take Troy in one of the first few missions because he's jonesing for a fun bag or whatever he says. And on another note, just look at this building. This building looks very nice for a fast food restaurant. I don't think I've ever seen a fast food restaurant that looks this nice even in real life. So I don't know where they got the budget, but here it is in Saints Row 1. As you can see, they tore the shit down, and I'm pretty sure it was Altor that did it, so I think we should boycott Altor. Here it is in Saints Row Undercover. It's still gone, and now it looks much worse. So, nice. All right, one request I got for the last video was the airport in Saints Row 1. This is the airport. It doesn't have all the fancy shit from Saints Row 2 yet. It's just basically a hangar. I don't even know if there's a place where like people can like fly to other places. Here it is in Saints Row 2. You can't see much, and there we go. It's this time it just looks like a normal airport, and you can actually go inside and stuff. In Saints Row Undercover, here it is. It's not loaded in yet. Let's get a little closer. It looks okay. There's no bridges there anymore. And here's another note. There's like big like windows at the airport, and that leads me to believe that maybe at one point you were supposed to be able to go in this airport. Maybe the airport would have been enterable at one point. I don't know. But here's this big ass block with letters on it. Okay, so here we are in that big-ass park in Chinatown in Saints Row 1. You know, it looks like a nice place that you could, get some sushi, settle down, have a nice afternoon. In Saints Row 2, it more or less looks the same, with the exception of that big-ass mountain in the background being essentially chopped in half. And in Saints Row Undercover, well, you can see that the draw distance is absolutely horrendous, but the bridge is still there. There's still rocks around the place. I don't know. Staying in Chinatown, right next to the park, there's these big-ass buildings. Here they are in Saints Row 1. In Saints Row 2, they are basically the same, once again. And in Saints Row Undercover, just to show you that the entire game isn't completely ruined, they look pretty good. They're finished at least. You can see them. So probably the most amount of requests I got was for the Lopez Mansion from Saints Row 1. So here it is in Saints Row 1. It's a really nice looking building. There's like a gazebo type thing next to it. And in Saints Row 2, it more or less looks the same. You can tell the textures on the building are different, and I would argue that the Saints Row 1 version looks better. The gazebo is still there. The gazebo is relatively unchanged. And in Saints Row Undercover, this is just not the same building at all, and the gazebo is gone. Okay, so this is the area where you quote-unquote die in Saints Row 1. It might look like a stupid angle, but when I fade into Saints Row 2, you'll see why I use this angle. This is where the memorial for Richard Hughes is. Richard Hughes shared the boat with you when it exploded, and he actually did die, and this is his memorial and dedication to him. I don't think he exactly earned it. You know, the boss has done more than Richard Hughes ever did. For Stillwater, the boss has almost single-handedly taken down 6 gangs out of Stillwater, as well as being the direct result of the downfall of Altor, the evil mega corporation that tore down the Freckle Bitches. So yeah, the boss definitely needs his own statue. Okay, so this is TNA. It's a strip club in Stillwater. It is not too out of the ordinary in Saints Row 1, except for the neon sign. But in Saints Row 2, this is where they up the ante to the max. The building looks so much better, and the sign is different and stuff. I don't know if Altor bought it or something, but the budget went way up. And here it is in Saints Row Undercover. Surprisingly, it is a pretty faithful recreation of the building in Saints Row 2. The sign isn't there anymore, but other than that, it really nailed it. Here is the interior to TNA in Saints Row 1. It looks nice, you know, looks like a strip club, looks nice and fancy and all that. And in Saints Row 2, there's really not that much of a difference except for the lighting. The lighting in here is very different, and also it looks like foggy and stuff. I don't know what that's about. And there's no interior in Saints Row Undercover. So this is On Track, another iconic building to the series. This is where veteran child takes Shondi when he kidnaps her. In Saints Row 1, it looks nice, honestly. And in Saints Row 2, it's more or less the same building. You can tell they redesigned the sign and stuff, but more or less, it's pretty much the same thing. In Saints Row Undercover, it's not there. It's been replaced with like this little building thing. I don't know what they did to it. But when On Track gets really interesting is when you go inside. Now in Saints Row 1, they only have the ground level of the building fleshed out, and it looks fine. It looks like a nice little club that you can hang out and drink, maybe dance or whatever the hell. But in Saints Row 2, they have that as well, but you can go downstairs. And this is where the building gets very interesting, gets very unique. And I honestly just love the layout of the downstairs of On Track. It's got like levels to it. It's really fleshed out and it looks super nice. Now, one of the places that you go back to in Saints Row 4 in Stillwater is On Track. There's only the interior. You can't see outside. You can't go outside. But they basically make you redo the veteran child mission with their own Saints Row 4 spin on it. The most surprising part, however, is that this On Track club is recreated very faithfully. With the exception of like the lighting, they pretty much got everything in order. Even downstairs looks very nice and very faithful to the original. So that was some more places around Stillwater throughout the years. I hope you enjoyed it. Obviously, I didn't get everything. If I wanted to get everything, this video would have to be like 8 hours long. It would be ridiculous. But yeah, there's always room for a part 3. I don't know if I want to make this like a regular series, but maybe like do some every once in a while. I kind of want to stray away from it for now because I made 2 in a row. So I guess leave your requests if you have any places that you want to see, and I'll get to it later.